On the Run We Go, featuring Sharon King, Jimmy, Taya, Maureen, Sally, Mike, and Paul, and the students and faculty of Abraham Lincoln High School. Brought to you by the General Petroleum Corporation. Buy gas! Thank you, Sid. Thank you, Sid. Thank you for this movie that you made about gas. Oof! Ow! Ow! Oh! Ouch! Oh! Ow!
Did you ever feel it's the little things which somehow throw your life into a tailspin before you realize it?
Every day.
One little thing like a high school senior. Or to pinpoint it, me, there in the coral sweater, an open-toed expression. Then little thing number
Open-toed
2,
expression?
Jimmy Cushman, a classmate. Little
What's
thing
up, Jimmy
number 3
Cushman?
is that bird brain in the shop.
Meow. Oh,
Giving
God.
all us high school kids a bad name. That
Hello?
night, when
Yes,
Jimmy
you have a
finally
bad
invited me
name.
to a movie, what he didn't know was that my father had seen another little thing in the evening paper. And because of it,
High school area
Tony
residents
organized
protest
the end of
teenage
the
car
kids' cars.
nuisance.
And you know what that meant. No
I'm
dates
sorry, I have
until
so
he
much
changed his
housework to
mind.
do.
Poor me.
Poor
But the
me.
worst thing was what our school principal was threatening to do. Mr.
And the
Carter
pencil
had
sharpener on the
announced
wall.
If he had one more complaint about the kids driving, he'd be forced to do what other schools had done. Lock all
Close
cars
down.
in the school parking lot till after school every day.
Every day.
Well,
We
couldn't
took it to
do anything
Washington.
right away because next day Dad took me to Sacramento. And while he worked, I did some sightseeing.
Looking
Still
for a
worried
husband.
About Mr. Porter's warning until suddenly I spotted a sharp-looking sports job with a sign on it, which said something about a safety economy run. Naturally, I didn't know what that was, but I knew what the Flying Red
I
Horse
couldn't
stands
read.
for. So, later that afternoon, when I bought a local
I looked on the
paper and
internet.
read that the runs were for high schools, I took off for the nearest phone booth, called the oil company, and asked if someone would explain a safety economy run to me. They
No.
connected me with Mr. Burton, Ray Burton, up
Tim
in San
Burton.
Francisco
Oh,
to
Ray
supervise
Burton.
the run.
Yeah, well,
Then,
the
even though it
economy
was
safety
about to
run
leave,
is,
if I'd come right over,
you wouldn't
he'd explain it
understand.
all
It's
to me.
really
And
difficult.
was I ever glad I took him up.
Start with, Miss King. We don't put on the runs. You youngsters do it all yourselves.
By eating horrible food. Then you get the runs.
All we do, with a lot of help from 3As and peace officer groups, like the Highway Patrol here in our state, to
Chips.
show you how to organize a run, then you go ahead and do it.
Oh, but who wins these runs? The driver with the best mileage?
No, although mileage is very important, but these are also safety tests. That's why we donate trophies and the gasoline that's used.
Well, how
Oh, I just want the
do you get
gasoline,
scores?
thanks.
You get your run organized first. When you're ready, we'll be around to explain it. And
You
give
get
the
your
official
little run
observer's report
organized and then
forms.
come back
You know,
and
each
see
car
me.
carries an adult observer.
Well, with an adult in the car, like a chaperone, it doesn't sound very exciting.
Tell you what.
Sounds
I've got some
simply
photos of
Dullsville,
runs that go around
Daddy-o.
the country. If you have the time, I'd love to show them to you.
Is that Ed Sullivan?
Well, I've got
Right
lots
here,
of time.
right here in our
Good.
shoe. Crafty Rhea says the cars that guzzle the most gas win. I don't want to see your home movies. I'm good. Oh, it's a movie inside of
I
a
was
movie.
surprised to see how many schools everywhere had entered past safety economy runs.
Even
How
Catholic
faculty
schools.
pitch in and help. Imagine, just as in the big economy run, all cars are weighed.
Milk is
So,
here.
with the 10-mile scoring system, cars of all kinds compete on an equal basis.
Ow, my foot, my foot.
Now there's a sight. Seattle's floating bridge over Lake Washington.
Seattle's floating what?
In Portland, a girl walked off with first place honors.
A girl! Can you
Here in
believe
Bakersfield,
it?
an
A
engine is being
girl!
given a last-minute performance check.
Stephen
Not
Page
only
of the
are
Bare Naked
cars
Ladies
weighed,
checks his
but
car.
The passengers are too. Under their scoring system, every last ounce counts.
We want to know how much
Well,
every woman
No
weighs.
wonder Bakersfield had all those high-priced cars entered. This country looks richer than Texas. How about that flying red carpet? Bakersfield to Inglewood in 2 seconds flat. And at the end of the run, the time...
Okay, you win, you win.
no
Careful,
car just
slow down.
crawls along to save a few drops of gas.
Here we go. There's your thimble full of
Well,
gas.
with north again, where you can see how the cars are started at 1-minute intervals. Look at those steaks. Sponsoring service clubs and serve
Hi,
free
can
to
I
all
get some
attending
steaks,
the
please?
victory luncheon after
This is the
run,
kind of food you'll
where
get
they
in
announce
prison
the
if you
scores
speed.
and award the trophies. I was sold, and I knew Peninsula High could do the same thing and show our parents, Mr. Potter and the neighbors,
We're gonna
that
show our
high school
parents.
kids are good
We're gonna
drivers.
show them so
Mr.
good.
Burton invited
Get your
me
hand
to
off
the
me,
Sacramento
sir.
Run next morning. Excitement? Believe me, it was as exciting as a football game.
Look, she's got loofahs on her boots. All right, so there's Disneyland. We want to make it all the way down there. You sure,
The
Dad?
gasoline and oil are provided by the mobile gas people. And the safety checks to make sure all cars are in top condition. as
God
well as
bless those
covered by
mobile
insurance,
people.
Are continued until the last car
Selflessly
started.
holding a car
Then,
race.
numbered stickers are pasted on, and the cars
Thank
roll
you.
into the street to line up for the start. At 9 o'clock sharp, the first
They
car
pull
is
into
set off,
traffic.
and the next car is rolled up, in turn to the starting line. There, the assistant
They're not gonna
starter
get very
holds
far.
off the seconds
We're gonna
until the
save
next
so
unit
much
is up.
gas because we're gonna
When
push
they
our
all
car.
left, I went with Mr. Burton to drive around the 96-mile course. It was a real kick for me. But most of all, I couldn't wait to get back to San Francisco to see what I could do about whipping up some enthusiasm for a safety economy run of
Whip!
our own.
We're gonna save so much gas.
And Monday
Everybody's
after school,
gonna save
I hauled
gas.
Jimmy over to our favorite malt shop to get started.
Yes, yes, you've
Not
told
only
me
did
about
I
the
have Jimmy
run.
to try
Please
to
stop.
sell,
We're just
I had to
dancing.
compete with a jukebox and some music with a beat. Look, how many kids in school have cars? 300?
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Well, then
Oof.
out of that 300, how many got the rest of us into this jam?
Gee, there couldn't be more than 6 or 8 of those yo-yos shoving around shot rods, making like they're real big.
I'm gonna
things.
shove around your shot
That's
rod
what I mean.
later on
If you were
tonight.
Mr. Potter,
Thank you, ma'am.
well, if you were, and a lot of our bunch entered the run and got really good scores, wouldn't you think we're not all goof-offs like Ronnie and Kay and their gang that digs out every time they get into a car?
Well, yeah, but if you can
Whatever
convince
you
your
say,
father
dear.
that, then I'm with you.
Speaking of the car, do you want to sit in the back seat?
List of, uh-oh. Okay, you're vice president of student council. Get to work, because here comes Flash Gordon himself.
Hi, Tay.
What's up? It's me, Flash
Bunny,
Gordon.
my little bunny.
Tay, listen a minute.
Minute? Man, do you realize in a minute I can go from a standing start to 130 in that little old bomb of mine?
And I'm not even talking about my car.
Hey, we're planning on putting on one of those safety economy runs here at school. Will you and your gang enter if we...
Me? Economy? Of course you're kidding.
The heck we
In this
are. It's you and
economy?
that lead-foot
No.
pot of yours that got us in all this touch with Mr. Potter.
Sonny boy, I admit I voted for you for consul, but when it
Oof.
comes to cars, you're
These
better than the
actors.
men around here. So get lost, Willie. You're acting mighty silly.
Yeah, he is fast. He just blew through 6 accents.
Well, what do you
Well, now
do
I have
with
to
a
throw this
character like
milkshake.
that?
He just
What do you
brings
do?
out if he had any.
How do you solve
But
a
after
problem
listening
like
to him,
that
I'm
guy?
sure you're right, Sharon.
Then you'll help get the show on the road?
If it'll help cut down that creek, send me in, Coach.
Cut down that what? Gonna have an economy run. Hey, everybody, gather around. I'm gonna tell you about a brand new sound. It's something
Sharon,
that's a
I
lot
got a
of
whole
fun.
committee.
Oh, sure.
It's called an economy run.
Am I ready?
Now there's too many people in this booth.
I think boys are fun.
This is a run for
Oh boy.
automobiles.
Oh boy. You know what? I don't think she thinks boys are fun. I think she's gonna get to college
If I ever hit
and
one,
realize.
the
Never
game board
mind.
usually makes me throw him back in because he's too young.
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, the meeting of the board of directors is called to order. With Jimmy only reluctantly agreeing to help, the work began.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever. You guys gonna do some sort of run? Yeah, it sounds like a real winner. I'll gladly help you.
Mr. Potter. He
Oh,
was
Mr.
the
Potter,
principal who was threatening
we
to
just
lock
wanna do
up
an
all the
economy
kids'
run.
cars. Well, seeing we needed some assistance, we called Mr. Burton.
Mr. Nixon.
Returned to his San Francisco office, and he agreed to talk to our principal. After all the trouble Mr. Potter
Right
had
now,
because
we're gonna
of
have
the
an
few
economy
kids like
run,
Tay, who
right
made
here
the
on this
racetrack of the streets.
stage.
It's no wonder he didn't take to the request at first. But after Mr. Burton gave him a few facts and figures, he said okay, and gave us permission for Mr. Burton, Highway
Okay,
Patrol officer,
you have my
and me
permission.
to address an assembly. Get me a big
Hello,
shot.
high
Hasn't
school!
speaker yet. Next day, to get
Okay, we're gonna have a
I
fire
guess
grill.
Jimmy
I
and
don't want any of
answered
you
almost
driving
every
to the
kind
fire
of
grill.
question.
We want to drive to the
A
fire
run is
grill. No,
usually
well, that's
over
not
a
what we
course
mean.
Of about 100 miles. which we'll lay out with the 3As and the Highway Patrol.
All these high school students are 45.
May enter, driving any standard type of car. And that to make it a test of good driving habits, observers go along and give penalties of 1/10 of a gallon for each
I'm gonna
infraction
give so
of the
many
traffic law,
penalties,
if
you're
any.
not even gonna believe it.
Jimmy and I did
Ow,
fine.
oof, ow. Why do we keep reading as we walk
And
downstairs?
we were real proud as we went to the malt shop to meet Mr. Burton. He thought we'd done a
Hi, Mr. Burton, this is the malt shop. You want a malt?
He teased us. Maybe he'd give us a job. Selling gas and oil, door to door. Big door. But then, when he heard we hadn't gotten any other schools in, he warned us that in a city this size, with only one school entered, the run could be a flop.
Oof. That would be
Having seen our
Dullsville.
sad,
So we
sad
went to our
faces,
rival high school and
next day,
TP'd
Mr. Burton
them.
was waiting for us in front of school.
Hey, you kids
had
want
news for
to
us.
smoke some cigarettes?
The company had agreed to award another trophy to help get other schools in. A sweepstakes trophy to be awarded to the school getting the best team score.
Wow, look at that trophy.
Thrilled.
Hot
With the
damn.
old school spirit working for us, it would be a cinch. Next day, we told Mr. McCutcheon our good news, but found he'd already gotten 4 other schools to enter.
Wow, Mr.
They
McKitchen,
told
you're...
us
I got
we
4
were the
other
ones who
schools.
got to make
You
calls
listen,
to
you
the
don't
service
worry
fund
about those schools.
after they were
They'll be
providing
there,
the
all right?
service we need
Of course,
in
I
the
had
victory
to
luncheon.
strong arm him a bit.
Jimmy threw in the sponge, and I threw the book at James. If Mr. McCutcheon hadn't calmed us down, Jimmy and I still wouldn't be talking. But then
All
we
right,
got
you
more
two,
help from
just
Mr.
knock it
Burton.
off.
He went to the 3As, saw Mr.
Could you
Moore,
please sit in my
and they
chair
agreed they'd
correctly?
both
This is
help
an
us get
office.
speaking dates,
I wore a bow
which
tie.
they did.
I don't want you sitting in the chair. I spoke at the Lions Club and nobody listened. At the Kiwanis Club either. They stared at me blankly. Oh, he wants to have a... Ooh!
Still, I called on the chairman of another club to ask if I could address his next meeting. And, well, that's just about it, Mr. Scott. So,
Great
if you'll
Scott.
put me on as a speaker at your next luncheon meeting, I promise I'll tell all about the run in 3 minutes flat.
No, I'm sorry, Miss King. Our club isn't interested in races or competitions of any kind where youngsters your age risk their necks in cars.
But it's not a race, it's,
You did say that the cars had to be back in a specified time, didn't you?
well, naturally.
Well, I mean, it's like a rental car.
Young lady, you're just wasting your time. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about using my influence to see that your entire project is canceled.
Because I'm a big
Your privilege,
fuddy-duddy.
Mr. Scott.
Your white
I've been
privilege.
driving for 2 years now, and I've never had a tip, not even for parking.
Never had a
And
tick.
not one of my vendors has a scratch on it. May I ask what your record has been for the past 2 years?
Let's
really
not
not
bring my
hitting the
fenders into this.
Rather than appear obdurate about it, the meeting's at noon tomorrow in the Pine Room.
The Pine Room. Look, he's doing his drinking coffee bit. I used to be a medallion. Now I am a medallion. I used to be a medallion. Now I'm under
Okay,
the...
Sharon, shoot.
Now, check the cafeteria to make sure all the arrangements are complete for the victory luncheon.
Okay, I'll take care
Yes,
of
they'll
that.
be driving through the
And since we
cafeteria.
have to send out at least twice as many press releases as
She
we
looks
did
like she's
before.
like one of those scouts from the Up
I don't know
movie.
who'll do this. Try to get interviewed on TV.
Boy, that's your job, Maureen. You got what it takes for that kind of stuff.
Oh, no, you don't. What are you trying to do, bring radio back again?
Oh, cut it out. You're a real movie star.
Oh, here's one more thing we all can do.
No, she
Mr.
didn't
Burton
argue
says
too much with
all
that.
the service clubs with names and phone numbers of every man who's volunteered to be an official and observer.
Well, okay, but I don't get it.
To call them up Friday and remind them we expect them out Saturday morning. Mr. Burton says if it's a nice warm day, some might just happen to recall a previous golf day.
Well, well,
Oh,
well. If
boy.
it isn't the Indianapolis Race Committee as I live and breathe.
Well, okay, Mr. Hotshot. If you're such an 8-cylinder wizard, why isn't your entry in here?
Are you kidding? Get up at the crack of dawn and play some silly baby game? Count me out, little sprout.
What is it with you, Tay? Chicken? Afraid some of us will show you.
That'd be the day I'd like to see.
And you know what, Tay?
You real son of a
I bet
bitch.
even I can beat you.
Put your money where your mouth is.
You are chicken, aren't you?
Don't be silly, Lily. I wouldn't race against a girl.
Oh my God, this guy has a rhyme for every goddamn
It's not a
thing.
race, it's competition. And besides, I'm not even sure that shot rod of yours could pass the safety check.
Why does she keep looking at his crotch?
Okay, you asked for it. What's the bet? And I'll even give you odds.
That won't be necessary. Tell you what, whoever loses takes the rest of us to the movie Saturday night.
And how will we get to the show? Or has your father become big-hearted and changed his mind?
I didn't mean to the drive-in. We can all go down to the park side. I want to see what they're playing anyhow. Well, Tay, is it a bet or is it a bet?
Oh, okay, but you wait and see. I'll cream the whole bunch of you.
Oof,
Just
we don't
sign
need,
here,
no,
milkman,
thank you.
and
We're done.
We'll see if it'll be
We're
cream
done.
or just a large dose of skim milk.
I have no
Safety
response
checks
to
start
that.
tomorrow. We were getting closer.
The Peninsula
auto
Pelican.
shop volunteer crews work like maniacs checking cars. Maniacs is right, too. For who else would have passed Tay's car as being safe? I guess they checked the car, not the driver. Where there were boys, there was Sally, clowning as usual and doing anything to make Tay realize she was alive. Tay didn't think it was funny. And Mike,
She's got
with
a
his father's
listen.
brand new hard he
Listen.
didn't think it was
This
funny
takes place
either when they
in.
told
Never
him the
mind.
car couldn't
I
be
gotta.
okayed because the front wheels were out of line. Poor Mike, having to tell his dad 2 high school kids had rejected his shiny new car as unsafe. His father took to the notion like a duck to a load of buckshot.
Quack quack quack.
Next morning, school had hardly opened when Mike's father was there, chewing out Mr. McCutcheon as if it had been his fault. But
Hey,
Mr.
listen,
McCutcheon
you don't
was
get
saying
up in
that's
my
what auto
face,
shops
Mr.
and driver ed
McCutcheon,
courses are
or
for.
your ketchup empire's gonna be
Mike's father
good.
went for that
Yeah,
in
you
a big way.
understand me?
He told Mr. McCutcheon he would have his wheels aligned and let Mike enter. But it wasn't all work at school. Maureen, for instance, went out with the run supervisors for a final check on the course they had laid out.
Thanks for the
And
wonderful
what a
evening
course.
walking along the pier.
100 miles through city, freeways, country, and this being San Francisco, of course, across the Golden Gate Bridge into Marin
course.
County. It was all so beautiful, we prayed it wouldn't rain the day of the run.
Yeah.
Little did we know, poor innocents. Now the whole school helped. Journalism classes wrote all publicity we needed. Art classes designed the posters. And the
Why,
print
school
shop turned
stopped
itself
for 2
inside
weeks.
out doing the car placards. I even typed dozens of envelopes to the local newspapers.
tick, type,
and
type,
Maureen
type, type.
was interviewed on TV, as Jimmy was on radio. The last big chore was weighing in the cars that were entered, because the weight of the cars and the occupants is used in figuring the final score.
And
Saturday
scene.
morning, the
Oh,
day of
there
the
we go.
run, I was out of the house by 6. And so were lots of others who jammed the station we were to start
Yay.
from, where the observers got their final instructions.
They could not wait.
They asked a lot of questions about how to score
my
penalties for
God.
any infractions. The Ham Radio Club was checking with their mobile stations along the course.
Yeah, breaker, breaker,
Markers
19.
were put on all cars entered.
Now this
And
tape
so
won't
we
take
picked
any
up
of the paint
room
off,
paper
will it?
To make it easier to pick out our run cars. Gas tanks were filled to the very brim, for free at that. And attendants marked the filler pipes so they could be refilled when the run was over to determine the exact amount of gas used. And then, for the first time, I noticed the weather. Gosh,
Oh,
if it
no.
rained now, how could we complete the course in 2 hours and 40 minutes? Mike was there, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And the law was there, too.
You
Each
think
car
what are these
had a
kids gonna
numbered
do?
sticker put on, and I do number 45. Then Mr. Burton came up to introduce me to my observer, Mr. Samuelson, and told us we'd better weigh in and have the total entered into our official report. Our clowning Rover girl was getting her kicks, too. As a rib, she told Tay his observer was the vice principal. He just about died. But then Sally got his official observer, Freddie Agabatian, one of the country's top racing drivers. And was Tay thrilled. Now we'd have a chance to show a professional how good he was. 9 o'clock, and Maureen, the official timer, marked off the seconds for the first car to start. The
No,
weather
you're not
was
supposed to.
good. This
Oh,
was
God.
it, and our chance to prove a lot of things to a lot of people. Jimmy, cagey character, made a real smooth start. Maybe because the starter was a well-known judge. Starting time, as it must to all men, came for Tay Stevens. Whoops! Bet he lost a couple of gallons right there.
Oh, Tay.
Then at 10 minutes to 10 came my turn, and my heart a pounding lump in my throat.
Thanks, Maureen. Maureen, you got a beautiful face. Don't say that thing about radio. We love you.
Making sure we flashed our turn indicators, we rolled up onto Bayshore Highway, and I saw the weather was getting even worse. But with the traffic and having to watch the speedometer and all the other things I had to do, I didn't have much time to worry.
We are driving with free gas.
Of course, Tay, who knew he could drive better than anyone, sailed along blithely, not watching anything, like that 35-mile zone sign.
Oh, boy.
And he never did argue Mr. Agabatian out of that penalty or the other infractions he piled up. And then it hit us. Golly.
Kabam!
Rain. We all had to reduce our speed.
It is San Francisco, after all. We were suddenly in the Northern California redwoods.
We had lost so much time that when the rain stopped, it was a temptation to really tromp on those gas pedals.
Temptation. Meanwhile, in Gilroy.
Now that we had been through overcast and rain, we ran into our next obstacle in trying to maintain the top legal speed. Fog. Good old fog to make us slow down again. But then, as it always does around our wonderful town, the fog washed away, and there, under the brilliant sunshine, was San Francisco itself.
San Francisco, open your golden gate!
There were the little cable cars for which we are famous, clanging and bouncing along.
You got 5 points for smashing into as many as you could.
There were the familiar steep hills. And before we knew it, we were into San Francisco's Chinatown. Believe me, there was little we missed on our 100-mile tour. Even the much-pictured Bay Bridge in the background, and the Embarcadero, with its tantalizing smells of spices and distant seas, and its 25-mile zone signs.
Oh, God!
Just when the weather was better, and time getting shorter and shorter. How about that? Glad I was down below and not swaying up there on the cables, despite the beauty of our renowned Golden Gate Bridge. And with the bridge not too crowded this Saturday morning, we were feeling better now about finishing the run on time.
Of course, we were going to have to pay $11 to get back, but oh well.
Our cars rolled along. Later, we heard how deep an impression the skill of the teenage drivers had made on the adult observers, who all said the same thing once the run was over.
Can we drive home now?
Had they had such legal rides. But I'm ahead of myself, because the run wasn't over yet. Thanks to the rain and fog we'd been through, time was getting shorter and shorter. Then as we started on our last lap of the figure 8 course, we still had almost 15 miles left.
Driving through a tunnel.
Then as we headed back to the bridge approaches, there it was again.
The fog.
Rolling through the Golden Gate. Fog once more. By now, it was almost 11:40, and I knew the first cars should be back in town, approaching Polk and Hay Streets for the finish. But I didn't know that because of the rain and fog, all the officials were worried as the cars rolled back in just seconds under the time limit.
Oh, I'm so worried.
Being disqualified.
Winner! Mobil Oil, we love you. Mobil Oil, you're the best. There's no other oil that we love than Mobil Oil, better than the rest.
In the start, with every driver anxiously watching the pumps to see how little gasoline had been used, because even a few
Mobil Gas
could mean
Special.
the difference between a winner and a loser.
And speaking of losers...
Then, with all the cars back, we trooped off to the victory luncheon and the announcements of the scores and the awarding of the trophies.
We all had bread and water.
Friends and observers, while upstairs, computing machines clicked away, auditing the
Ooh,
scores
computing
down to the
machines,
last decimal
fancy.
point. If you go in for suspense, then this you would have loved.
Hi, I'm from the Mustangs.
Talk about dismal luck. While we sat there simply dying to know how we had made out, Mr. Simpson, who had brought the trophies,
We have nothing to
awarded
fear
them first to the other
but
for
fear
school.
itself.
But then it happened. Peninsula Union High, starting with our boy who'd been third best. Think he wasn't tickled? Get a load of that
Look at
wall-to-wall smile.
He's tickled.
Then Al Larson, who'd been second.
Who?
And
Are we supposed to know
finally,
these people?
With all of us biting our nails, first place to
Not one of you is biting your nails.
unbelieving
You won! Jingle bells, jingle jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to
Then
ride.
the big news. The school with the best team score. Peninsula High. They made me go up and accept the trophy.
Oh boy, here she comes. Here's her speech. This is all your fault, lady. Whoa, drops it.
And then we all made tracks
Trips on her coat.
to see the huge piece of paper on which everyone's score was written. After all the boasting
It's so
I'd
small.
done about doing better than
That's like
Kay, I
huge
was
piece of
popping
paper.
my buttons till I found out if I had. Where was my name? There. Sharon King.
Sharon
eighth
King.
Place.
8th
But
place.
where was Tay Stevens?
Yeah, where's Tay
How had he
Stevens?
done?
Oh, Dick Stanford.
Tay Stevens screamed himself into 14th place.
14th-ish. 14th-ish?
That
14th-ish.
night, before they picked up Sally and Maureen, Jimmy, Mike, and Tay came by our house. Jimmy had talked to Mr. Potter, who admitted he was convinced.
Mr. Potter.
But we
Mr.
didn't
Potter.
know yet if my dad had relented and would let me go out at night
Oh
in the
boy,
kids'
here are the
cars.
kids. Okay, you're all
Not
grounded.
only had he relented,
Hello,
he
sir.
almost shook
Good to
Jimmy's
see you.
arm off. Kidded Tay
Good to
about
see
his
you.
bad
I don't like
showing,
you.
and then said it was okay. I could even use this car myself at night.
Yay!
So, after all the work and discouragement,
All
we
this to
had
get to go out
something.
to have fun
Mr.
on a
Potter,
date.
To my father, and to anyone
Let
who
me
reads
check the internet.
newspaper. Good old safety economy run.
Bye, Dad! We're driving, thank you, Mobile Oil, General Patrol.